All right, everyone, I am back. Apologies for the delay on the stream here. My microphone sucks. I need to get a new microphone. So I'll be looking into that over the next little while. It's something weird with my microphone not connecting to my computer in the correct way. I'll do some testing with it. I'll do some playing around with it. I know what the issue is, good lord. It's that I don't know what the issue is, and it's really annoying. But anyway, we're not going to get caught up on that. We are going to hop right into what I was planning to do today, which is go over all 48 cards from Dominaria United Commander. Hi, it's me, chat. Say hi. It's me, smile. Let's move chat over here just a tad. Nope. That's why I don't need this one. You can see chat. I know. You can see chat. I spent some time yesterday getting the black border overlay to work there. Anyways, I'm a little big here. Can't really see the whole card, so I'm gonna shrink myself a little bit. Hi, I'm super small up there now, chat. We're gonna get started. Dihada, Binder of Wills, for red, white, black, 1. Legendary Planeswalker Dihada that can be your commander. +2, up to one target legendary creature gains Vigilance, Lifelink, and Indestructible until your next turn. That seems okay. It doesn't seem incredible as an ability. Overall, on that feature. -3. Reveal the top 4 cards of your library. Put any number of legendary cards from among them into your hand and the rest into your graveyard. Create a treasure token for each card put into your graveyard this way. So that's actually quite an interesting ability. Because usually a lot of times with these abilities that say reveal the top X, put some into your hand, put the rest somewhere else. A lot of times, those abilities kind of, if you lose, the stuff that you lose just goes away and you're never really able to gain advantage from it. In this case, you gain advantage whether or not you hit the legendaries or you hit the non-legendaries. So if you hit legendary cards, you get to draw them, which is a really, really strong piece of card advantage. If you hit non-legendaries, you gain a little bit of mana acceleration. So you could actually, in theory, play Dihada in a deck that doesn't have a lot of legendaries solely as a way to basically say -3, gain 4 mana, which is an interesting thought process. Do I love it? No, I actually really don't like it. But it's definitely an interesting idea and one to think about. Guiltlord is saying she will almost pay for herself. I completely agree. She will almost pay for herself if you're able to maneuver her in a way if you build your deck in the right way. -11. Gain control of all non-land permanents until end of turn. Untap them, they gain haste until end of turn. So they took Meme Tibalt's ultimate and added all non-land permanent. This is no better in practice than Insurrection is. 11 is steep. Insurrection isn't an incredible ability for that cost. I don't like it. Overall, I'm not a big fan of Dihada here. Green Sleeves. Morrow Sorcerer. Moving on to the next card here. Green 3 for a star elemental. Protection from planeswalkers and from wizards. A little bit interesting there. Very, very niche set of protections. I don't think that's really why you're going to be playing this card. Green Sleeve, Morrow Sorcerer's power and toughness are equal to the number of lands you control. Whenever a land enters the battlefield under control, create a 3/3 green badger creature token. You know what? It's cool. It's nifty. It probably doesn't see play in Commander ever because it doesn't really do anything. Can't be O-code. I mean, yes, it can't be O-code. It just seems underwhelming for the like the price you're paying for this and whatnot. It doesn't seem like it does enough, in my opinion. So there's my thoughts on Greensleeves. There are better landfall payoffs. There's better stuff that you could play here. Jared Carthalion for Wooburg. This is our first Wooburg Planeswalker. Wait, we could actually do Planeswalker Tribal now. Like, unironically, we can do Planeswalker Tribal in Commander where every permanent in your deck is a Planeswalker. Wait, this is a deck I have to build now. Because finally, Jared Carthalion allows us to play all Planeswalkers. I think that's a really, really cool design space already. No matter what he does, this is going to be really fun to play around. +1. Create a 3/3 Kavu creature token with trample that's all colors. Immediately checks the box of what a Planeswalker should do. If you don't know, my base level for a Planeswalker, defining if it's good or bad, is if the Planeswalker can defend itself the turn you play it, it is at least okay. It probably is going to be better than okay, but it's at least okay. And Jared checks the box, being able to create a blocker to protect him the turn you play him. -3. Choose up to 2 target creatures. For each of them, put a number of +1/+1 counters on it equal to the number of colors it is. Again, just a very versatile, useful ability when you're playing 5-color good stuff. Math is for blockers, lol. Yes, math is for blockers. He wants to be able to protect himself. This -3, very awesome. It turns these 3/3 Kavus into 8/8 Kavus, which is a very, very powerful increase. Is it likely I'm going to use that? No. Maybe. It actually is maybe, because his ultimate, we'll go over the ultimate a little bit, but the ultimate isn't like an ultimate that I really am interested in getting a lot of the time. So you very much could use him just for his +1 and the -3, which are all around very versatile anyway. Then we have -6. Return target multicolored card from your graveyard to your hand. If that card was all colors, draw a card and create 2 treasure tokens. So at the end of the day, yeah, you're going to want to play this in a deck that uses cards of all colors. But even if you don't, this is still a like return a card from your graveyard to your hand. If you're playing this in Planeswalker Tribal, you're going to be able to get back any really powerful Planeswalker that died and replay it. Unfortunately, there's no other 5-color Planeswalkers. Is Jared Carthalion the first Commander legal 5-color Planeswalker? Yeah. Jared Carthalion is the first legal in Commander 5-color Planeswalker. The only other one being Urza Headmaster, the unhinged one. So very interesting. Overall, I actually really like the fact that Jared Carthalion has a simpler ability set and a simpler just way of existing. He's a little more tuned down. He's a little more relaxed in terms of his abilities, which makes him seem like less of a threat, and he can just sit there and gain you value over a relatively long game. I like him. I'm going to be building 5-color Planeswalkers now. This is cool. I love it. I'm going to move on before I just goggle over this card anymore. We're going to move on to Jedit Ojanen, Mercenary. For white, blue, 1, but it looks like it's in the white, blue, green color identity, so it's in Bant. Whenever Jedit or another legendary creature enters the battlefield under your control, you may pay 1. If you do, create a 2/2 green cat warrior creature token with Forest Walk. First thing first, Forest Walk, Omega lol. When was the last time that a forest was actually printed? The answer is I can't tell you. But that being said, a 3-mana 3/3 that basically gives all of your legendary spells kicker and make a 2/2. It doesn't seem... It's both like decent and it's both pretty bad. I think Legendary Creature Tribal is going to get significantly stronger this um with this deck. It says fuck you to Ashaya. I guess yeah, I guess technically they have Forest Walk, so they just hit the player. The issue with the Legendary Tribal deck, which this is going to be played in, is that this is never going to be your commander, right? This is always going to be in the 99 of your 4 or 5 color Legendary Matters deck. And so what you have to think of when you see this jetted is like, how often am I going to try and play more than 1 or more than 2 legendaries per turn? And the answer is, it depends on how much mana you have. But in the early game, this is actually significantly better in the early game than it is in the late game. Because in the early game, you're unlikely to have the mana to play 2 legendary spells a turn. So you are likely to have that leftover 1 to pay for Jedit. Once you get into the mid game or to the late game, you're likely to be able to play whatever you draw off the top. You're gonna be able to dump your hand for exactly the amount of mana you have. Now that being said, if you have Jedit down and you ever have 1 extra green when you're going to cast your legendary spells, great. This is awesome. You just get free 2/2s. I think it's balanced. I don't think it's amazing, but I don't think it sucks. So we're gonna say this card's decent. I'm going to move on to the next card here, Jensen Carthalion, Druid Exile. Green white for a 2/2 human druid, but this is in 5 color identity. Whenever you cast a multicolored spell, scry 1. If that spell was all colors, create a 4/4 white angel creature token with flying and vigilance. Pay 5 tap, add Wooburg. So let's be real. If you're playing Jensen Carthalion as your commander, your mana base is already going to be good enough so that you don't need this ability here. It's likely that you have, even if you have tap lands, your mana base is going to be strong enough so that you really don't need to worry about color, especially because this ability can't generate you multiple of the same color. It's exactly 1 of each color. So you're asking the question, is a 2-mana 2/2 that says whenever you cast a spell, because I'm assuming your deck is going to be all multicolored spells, whenever you cast a spell, drop scry 1, is that good enough? The answer is I don't think so. I don't think this card does enough to be worthwhile in the long run. Yeah, cool. You get 4/4 white angels with flying and vigilance. You get Sarah Angels every time you cast a 5 color card. That feels win more-y though, because it's likely that the 5 color spells you're casting are already gonna win you the game. That being said, someone in my chat just mentioned you had played in 5 color Niv. That is a very valid reason. Making sure that you have the top of your deck be exactly the way you want it before you cast a Niv in a consistent manner with Jensen Carthalion is a very powerful effect. So yeah, it goes in the 99 of some decks. I don't think it becomes its own commander. Thumbs up. And you're going to hear that for a lot of these cards, I think. A lot of these, I think, are going to be good in the 99 of the Legendary or Multicolor Matters deck. But I don't think they're going to see play as their own commander. Just my thought, though. I'm going to move on to the next card here. Shanid, Sleeper's Scourge. Legendary creature Human Knight for white, black, red 1. Menace. Other legendary creatures you control have Menace. Whenever you play a legendary land or cast a legendary spell, you draw a card and you lose 1 life. Holy, that's a strong effect. That is an absolutely incredibly strong effect. Just the straight ability to be able to say, hey, you know what? Every time I cast a spell, it's gonna net me value. It's gonna let me filter into more stuff. It falls into the same trap that this Jedit does, where you're maybe only gonna get to cast 1 or 2 spells a turn in the early to mid game. But still, being able to replenish your hand and continue to have gas seems really awesome. Again, similar to what I said for Jared, you're not going to be playing this in the command zone, but this for sure goes into the 99 of your Legendary Matters deck. But this seems very strong in the 99 of your Legendary Matters deck. I'm going to move on. Savitri, Dragon Master. Blue-black 2 for a Planeswalker that can be your commander. +1. Until your next turn, creatures can't attack you or Planeswalkers you control unless their controller pays 2 life for each of those creatures. I'm going to say it right now. That ability is awful. That ability is really, 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 really bad, and I can prove it by searching up an old card, and Goat Lord might not even know if this card exists or not. Norn's Annex. If you read this card, this is the same effect as the +1 ability of that Planeswalker. And this card is pretty much thought of as very bad. Because especially in Commander, 2 life is practically nothing. Crick has shown us that 2 life is practically nothing. Gitaxian Probe, Shocklands, Fetchlands, these have all shown us that paying your life total in Commander, Necropotence, Peer into the Abyss, Ad Nauseum, these have all shown us that paying life in Commander doesn't really do anything. Goat Lord, you will figure it out at some point. It's ! card. You played in Oswald, interesting. You probably played just as a 5 mana play for Oswald, and in that case, it's good enough. Generally, though, this card is just bad. I don't really know what else to say. This card is bad, so therefore the effect of +1 on Savitri is also just bad. -3. Search your library for a dragon card, reveal it, put it in your hand, then shuffle. So that's not an incredible ability. This Planeswalker fails the Planeswalker test of can it defend itself the turn you come into play. I mean, the +1 doesn't really defend it. They can just pay the life to kill her. The -3 doesn't defend her at all unless you search for a dragon that you also have the mana to play. And then -7, destroy all non-dragon creatures. Seems bad. Like, overall, I'm not very impressed by Savitri. I doubt I would even put it in the 99 of a 5-color dragon deck. I'm going to move on to the next card here. Tetsuo, Imperial Champion. For Grixis colors, blue, black, red. Legendary creature, Human Samurai. Whenever Tetsuo attacks, if it's equipped, choose 1. It deals damage equal to the highest mana value among equipment attached to it to any target. You may cast an instant or sorcery spell from your hand with mana value less than or equal to the highest mana value among equipment attached to Tetsuo without paying its mana cost. Did somebody say they wanted to push the Voltron archetype into Grixis? Because if they did, this card seems decent. You have to play this weird combination of removal and control with the second bullet point alongside of powerful equipment with the first bullet point. The big problem with you wanting to push Voltron, like equipment Voltron in Grixis colors, in blue, black, red, is that you don't have access to white. And although white is the worst color, white does have access to a lot of very strong equipment matters effects. And so you're losing out on a lot of the equipment matters effects just by saying we're going to be in a different color scheme. I would be surprised if this card was played a lot in Commander. I think I'm going to move on here. That's really all I have to say about Tetsuo. The Lady of Otaria. 5 mana, 5/5. Avatar. You may tap 3 untapped dwarves you control rather than pay the spell's mana cost. At the beginning of each end step, if a land you controlled was put into a graveyard from the battlefield this turn, reveal the top 4 cards of your library. You may put any number of dwarf cards from among them into your hand, put the rest on the bottom of your library in a random order. First of all, before anyone says it, oh my god, Among Us. But realistically, what do I think of this card? The fact that it taps down 3 untapped dwarves to pay the spell's cost is actually, in my opinion, the better part of the card. And you might be wondering, why is that? Because if you're playing the Lady of Otaria as your commander, you're playing a secret commander. You have a second commander that you use that you really need to get into play, and that card is Magda. If you can guarantee somehow to tap down 3 dwarves instead of paying the cost, then you get 3 treasure tokens every time you replay your commander. And then eventually you can start using Magda to get access to some really, really powerful effects. Basically, this card is bad overall, but because Magda is a card, this card is okay. I'm going to move on. The card's not incredible, but I could see a meme deck built out of it. The Mana Rig. 3 mana legendary artifact. Whenever you cast a multicolored spell, create a tapped Power Stone token. Wait, that seems really counterintuitive. Like, you're basically, if you're playing the multicolor, if you're playing the multicolors matters deck, then the Mana Rig tokens don't do anything. But if you want the tokens to do anything, then you can't play multicolor cards, which means you can't ever make the tokens in the first place. This seems very counterintuitive. It seems like this card doesn't work, and I don't think it does. Pay XXX tap. Look at the top X cards of your library, put up to 2 of them into your hand, the rest in the bottom of your library in any order. The Mana Rig, more like the Mid Rig. I don't like this. I really, 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 really don't like this card. I think it's just bad, and I'm not even going to talk about it anymore. So I'm just going to move on here. Yeah, I mean, yeah, the tokens do filter into the ability, but the thing is, the ability is not even incredible. So it's like, yeah, you cast your multicolored spells, you get the Mana Rig, you can only use those tokens to filter into the ability. So you basically have this card basically lives on its own in the multicolored deck. It sits there and it plays its own game. And it just seems really bad. Torsten, founder of Benalia. Green, white, 5 for a 7/7. When it enters the battlefield, reveal the top 7 cards of your library. Put any number of creature and or land cards from among them into your hand, and the rest on the bottom of your library in a random order. When Torsten dies, create 7 1/1 white soldier creature tokens. My first thought was food chain, but since it's a fixed number of soldier tokens, you can't go infinite, basically. I'm not a big fan of this. It feels like there are better, like, I mean, even without the dies clause, even if you just use it for the enters the battlefield clause, in theory, you can use food chain Torsten to just draw all the creatures and lands in your deck. Is it good? No. Is it good on its own without food chain? Also, no. I don't like this. I'm going to say this card's bad and move on to the start of the rares here with Activated Sleeper. Black 2 for a 0/0 shapeshifter. You may have it enter the battlefield as a copy of any creature card in a graveyard that was put there from the battlefield this turn, except it's a Phyrexian in addition to its other types. So it's clone for 1 less mana, but the thing had to have died. Or be milled. No, it had to have died. Excuse me. It had to have died this turn. I'm not a big fan. I'm not a big fan of this effect. I'm just gonna keep moving on here. Ayesha Tanaka, Armorer. When Ayesha Tanaka Armorer attacks, look at the top 4 cards of your library. You may put any number of artifact cards with mana value less than or equal to Ayesha's power from among them onto the battlefield tapped. Put the rest on the bottom of your library in a random order. Wow! That seems really interesting. Ayesha can't be blocked as long as defending player controls 3 or more artifacts. So in theory, like, if you just have enough artifacts and like an aura or two, or just even equipment, again, like, yes, this card seems to be wanting to be played in equipment. You put a bunch of equipment on her, you attack, you put more stuff into play, she's unblockable, you hit your opponent, you have a good time. I just don't think you're ever really going to get the full value out of this card. Cool. I don't really like it. Baru, Worm Speaker. Green 2 for a 3/3. Worms you control get +2/+2 and have trample. Pay 8 and tap. Create a 4/4 worm creature token. This ability costs X less to activate, where X is the greatest power among worms you control. The obligatory search we have to do here now is there are 69 nice worms in the green color identity. Unfortunately, one of them's bookworm, so I already hate myself. But overall, like, the tribal deck that I never knew we needed is Worm Tribal. Do I think it's good? No. Do I think it's playable? Also no. It's the funny number of worms. I'm shrugging at this card. I'm gonna move on to the new Blade Wing. Deathless Tyrant for black red 5. Flying haste. Whenever it deals combat damage to a player or planeswalker, for each creature card in your graveyard, create a 2/2 black zombie knight creature token with vigil with menace. It just seems underwhelming. Like, yeah, you can make a big board, and it isn't a do nothing because it has haste. But how many tokens do you need for this to be useful? 3, 2, 4, 5? My issue, maybe I'm underrating this. It doesn't seem good as your commander. I wouldn't want to build around your commander. But I think in the 99 of some other black deck, this for sure 100% goes into like any kind of Rakdos deck. This is just like a solid card to put into any Rakdos deck, but I wouldn't want this as my commander. But overall, like, this seems actually like really sweet. I totally underestimated this when I first looked at it. No, this card's awesome. I'm going to give you this card's awesome. And I'm going to move on to Kadric, Soul Kindler. Red, white 2 for a legendary dwarf wizard. The legend rule doesn't apply to tokens you control. Whenever another non-token legendary permanent enters the battlefield under your control, you have Shadow Conjuring for legendary permanents. It's, again, put this in the 99 of your legendary deck. Thumbs up. I'm giving it the same treatment as Fenid and Jedit. It goes in the 99 of your Legendary Matters decks and then nowhere else, really. I'm going to move on here. Emperor Mihail II. 3 mana 3/3. You may look at the top card of your library at any time. You may cast Merfolk spells from the top of your library. Whenever you cast a Merfolk spell, you may pay 1. If you do, create a 1/1 blue Merfolk creature token. Is this finally the Merfolk tribal card that we've been looking for? Is this finally, because for a long time people have been wondering what is the best Merfolk tribal commander. They were arguing between something in mono blue, or you have white blue with the Sig River Guide. You have green blue with Kumena from the Arrivals of Ixalan. You have Bant with the non-synergistic Merfolk from Commander 2016, I believe it was. But this is finally the one that actually seems like a decent mono blue Merfolk commander. Even if you're not playing this as a commander, this 100% goes in the 99 of your Merfolk deck. Overall, definitely helps the archetyping commander out a lot. So I like it. Big thumbs up here. Moving on to Falaji Wayfarer. Green 2 for a 2/4. This is all colors. It doesn't affect its color identity. So you can play this in any green deck, or green X, or green XX, or green XXXX, or green XXXXX. Multicolored spells you cast have Convoke. Again, okay, it's not a legendary creature, so it can't be your commander. You're putting this into the 99 of your Multicolor Matters deck, and then you're moving on. Like, it's cool. It fills its niche. It's great in the deck that it's great in, and it's awful in the deck that it's awful in. Whatever. Gerard's Hourglass Pendant. 1 mana for a legendary artifact with flash. If a player would begin an extra turn, that player skips that turn instead. Pay 4 and tap. Exile Gerard's Hourglass Pendant. Return to the battlefield, tap to all the artifact, creature, enchantment, and land cards in your graveyard that were put there from the battlefield this turn. So this is interesting. It feels like you're never going to just play this down as a 1 mana artifact and pass turn. So let's think of this as a instant speed spell. It's either 1 mana instant, hose a single extra turn spell, or it's 5 mana instant, hose a single board sweeper. As a colorless effect, it seems pretty decent. Especially for decks that really are board centric, that are focused on having a large board, and if they get that board swept, it's a big deal. Your opponent casts their sweeper, you just end of turn, flash in your Gerard's Hourglass, exile it, and just recreate that entire board that you had previously. I mean, it's cool. It'll not as good as the White Foretell card. It's not as good as the White Foretell card, but it's not white is the difference here. Like, yes, while technically it is a worse quality card, every deck can play this. So let's say you're in like red-green creatures and you just get hit with a sweeper. Okay, you just play this down, crack it, and now you have access to your entire board that you would have lost. So overall, it's cool. It has a niche in some decks, but it's not going to see a ton of play. Azazen, Shaper of Sand, for Naya colors, red, green, white. Desert Walk. This creature can't be blocked as long as defending player controls a desert. You may play desert lands from your graveyard. Whenever a desert enters the battlefield under your control, create 2 1/1 red, green, and white sand warrior creature tokens. This card just seems bad. Like, it doesn't have token synergies. And I mean, the reason why you play this, right? The reason why you play this, for those who don't know, is a lot of the deserts from the original sets were able to sacrifice deserts. You have cards like, you can cycle these deserts infinitely and keep drawing cards. No, you can't. You can play them from your graveyard. You can cycle these and then replay them. You can replay Cradle of the Curse. You can like re-get back Endless Sands. The problem is there's only 16 deserts. So let's count here the number of deserts that are actually useful for this deck. There's Desert of the Fervent, Desert of the Indomitable, Desert of the True, Cradle of the Accursed. That's 4. Endless Sands is 5. Grasping Dunes is 6. Hashep Oasis is 7. Ramanop Ruins is 8. Scavenger Grounds is 9. And Shefet Dunes is 10. So it's just over half of the deserts available to you are good, but that's only 10 lands. There's only 10 lands that are actually useful to be put into your graveyard and replayed with Hazes on. So and the bigger problem is that you want to be playing a lot of deserts, and there's only 16 deserts total in the game, which means that most of the lands you're going to be finding are just basic lands. I think this card definitely just doesn't pull its weight when it comes to the impact it's going to have. I'm not a fan, which is a shame. Historian's Boon, enchantment. Whenever Historian's Boon or another non-token enchantment enters the battlefield under your control, create a 1/1 white soldier creature token. Whenever the final chapter of a saga you control triggers, create a 4/4 white angel creature token with flying and vigilance. Now, that's a card to play in specifically the saga decks, obviously. It basically says all of your sagas gain the additional ability 3 mana create an angel. Make saga power conduit. I think you're misinterpreting how power conduit works. Yeah, the problem is Good Lord, because of the way that sagas work. Let's say we go to Elspeth Conquers Death. It says sacrifice after 3. Actually, I'm going to check this. I want to check the wording on here. A chapter ability doesn't trigger what's if the Galore counters are removed, counter multiplayer game. Galore counter. Create the ability on stack will be affected. Once the number of lore counters on a saga is greater than or equal to the greatest number of its chapter abilities, saga control sacrifices as soon as the chapter ability has left the stack. So this statement here makes me think that Power Conduit Saga does not work the way you think it does. Like, unfortunately, as soon as it hits layer 3, it gets sacrificed as soon as the ability resolves, even if after the ability resolves, it sees it only has two counters on it. But I'm going to be pedantic, and I'm going to ask this. I'm going to go look this up. MTG Saga Power Conduit. Power Conduit and Saga's interaction. When a Saga is triggering its final abilities, it's possible to return it to your hand at instant speed. Yeah, that's fine. You remove a counter with Saga. Maybe I'm wrong about this. Never mind, I am wrong. So it's a state-based action thing. It does check the number of counters on it at the end of resolution. So you're totally right. It's great. Power Conduit works for this. Thumbs up, great card. It makes the Saga deck even better. Yeah, Golord, you're totally right, because it's a state-based action that checks upon resolution of the third ability. It looks and says, hey, I was triggered. I'm supposed to see if this has three ability counters on it. If it does, I'm going to sack it. It doesn't anymore, and therefore you're good. Yeah. Good card. You played in the one deck that you played in. Thumbs up. Cool card. Iridian Maelstrom for Wooburg. Destroy each creature that isn't all colors. Okay, this card's a meme. You know where this is going to play it in. I don't need to say much about this card. Mana Cannons. Red 2. Whenever you cast a multicolored spell, Mana Cannons deals X damage to any target where X is the number of colors that spell is. Similar to Iridian Maelstrom. You're playing it in the Multicolor Matters deck. It's going to be good in the Multicolor Matters deck. It's bad otherwise. I don't need to comment on these cards because we know exactly where they're going to be played, and they're not going to be played anywhere else. Moira, Urborg Haunt. Black 2. Menace. Whenever Urborg Moira deals damage to a player, return to the battlefield a target creature in your graveyard that was put there from the battlefield this turn. It's a bad Reanimator commander. Got it. This card's not going to see a ton of play. It seems very underwhelming for what it does. Trug. Obsidian Obelisk. 2 mana, intercept. Tap, add a colorless. Tab, add 1 of any color. Spend this to cast a multicolored spell. This card's not even good in the multicolor deck. It's not even good in the multicolor deck. It's just bad everywhere. I don't like this card. Tapped 2 mana rocks are not good. Change my mind. If it didn't come in tapped, it would actually be very strong. And a lot of commander decks would consider playing it because a lot of them play a lot of multicolor cards. But it doesn't, so the card is bad. Ohabi Caleria. White green 1 for a legendary creature, Elf Archer. With reach, so it's a 3 mana 1/3 reach, bad stat line. Untap all archers you control during each other player's untap step. Whenever an archer you control deals damage to a creature, you may pay 2. If you do, draw a card. Again, we're coming in hot here with the statement of it's another tribe that I didn't think I needed to have a tribe for. Well, you're cool. If you want to have an archer, is that how this works? ID is in green white. Oracle has damage. Has creature. So here's a list of all the archers that can deal direct damage to a creature. There's only 14 of them. There are a lot of archers, but this card only benefits a small subset of them. It's the same problem. Look how many. I mean, yeah, there's a lot of archers in general, though. Like there's 65 archers in general. My issue is that if you really want to benefit from this ability, you need to be attacking with all of these archers that don't have a tap ability and then risking them dying to combat, or you're only playing the ones with bad tap abilities a lot of the time. So, if you want to build the archer deck, go for it, have fun. I will not be building the archer deck, and I think I'm going to be better off for not doing it. I'm going to move on to Orca. Orca Siege Demon. 7 mana 5/5 for black red 5 with trample. Whenever another creature dies, put a +1/+1 counter on Orca. When it dies, it deals damage equal to its power divided as you choose among any number of targets. So, this card is very expensive for a very underwhelming effect. The reason why this card is good is because it hits like an absolute dump truck because it affects anything that comes into play, not just your own creatures or your opponent's creatures. Anytime a creature dies, it gets a little bit bigger, and then it punches your opponent in the face for a big number. And then it's hard to kill because when it dies, it just revenge kills the entire board of whoever killed it. What is it whenever creature dies? I'm talking about it right now. Good lord, it's this Orca Siege Demon. It's good. It if you're looking for a 7-drop to put into your Rakdos deck, though, probably Bladewing is going to be better. Whenever a creature dies, put a +1. Oh, you're talking about whenever a creature dies, +1/+1 counter is commander. Whenever another creature dies, Yeah, it looks like there's Elenda, there's Kresh, there's Obnixilis, there's Orca, there's Sengir, and those are the main 5. Vogard doesn't really count. Like in a Crash the Bloodbraided deck, Orca seems really strong. Otherwise, I'm not really a big fan of Orca. So I'm just gonna move on to the next card, that being Primeval Spawn. Wooburg 5. So for 10 mana, 10/10 Vigilance Trample Lifelink. If Primeval Spawn would enter the battlefield and it wasn't cast, or no mana was spent to cast it, exile it instead. Vigilance Trample Lifelink. Whenever Primeval Spawn leaves the battlefield, exile the top 10 cards of your library. You may cast any number of spells with total mana value 10 or less from among them without paying their mana costs. Hey, look, guys, it's Protean Hulk, but the way it should have been. Joyride deck. It's, if you're talking about old school Joyride, it doesn't even work because you don't spend mana to cast it from Suspend. Oh, Joda. Yeah, I mean, yeah, cool. You cast it for 5 mana and you get a 10/10. It just feels like there's better things you can do in Joda. Like, just instead just cast Emergent Ultimatum and literally win the game. Or like this is what Protean Hulk should have been, and even now it doesn't seem amazing. So I'm gonna say mid-tier card. Like, I'm good. This really isn't gonna see play anywhere, unfortunately, because it's a cool design, but it's not very good. Ramses Assassin Lord. Black, blue, 2 for 4/4 with Death Touch. Other assassins you control can +1/+1. Whenever a player loses the game, if they were attacked this turn by an assassin you controlled, you win the game. Now, see, this is a really sweet card. Primarily because what's the name of the other one? Etrata. Because Etrata got all of the extra synergies for hit counters from Commander Baldur's Gate, if you kill one of your opponents with Etrata, now all of your opponents just die and you win the game. Unfortunately, the only unfortunate card about this card is I have to change one of my decks now. After this, I'll go ahead and update one of the decks I have to update because of Ramses. But yeah, I love this card. This card is awesome. Very, very cool. Thumbs up. Great job. Rasputin the Oniromancer. White, blue, 1 for a 4/1. When it enters battlefield, put a dream counter on it for each opponent you have. Each opponent creates a 1/1 red goblin creature token. Tap, remove one or more dream counters from Rasputin, add that much mana. Tap, remove a dream counter from Rasputin, create a 2/2 white knight creature token with protection from red. Throw this card into the garbage. It's awful. Moving on. This card's so bad. Robaran Mercenaries. Robaran Mercenaries for 4. Vigilance. Has all activated abilities of legendary creatures you control. The OG Rasputin was better. I completely agree. The OG Rasputin was better. Robaran Mercenaries. It's cool. Like, is it? I don't know. I'm not a big fan of this. Like, you played in Oswald, but like you don't because you have better things you can do on 4. If this were an artifact, this would be insane in Oswald. But it's not an artifact. I mean, yeah, I'm good actually. Now, probably I saw this card when it came out. Probably my favorite card that has ever been printed in a Commander set of all time. Roga Carekeep Overlord. He's finally here. He's finally here. Our son, our boy Roger, is finally completed. Rogue Rock. Look at our boy. Look at our son. He's finally ready to go. I am so happy. Roga, Carekeep Overlord, black red 3 for a 4/4. Other kobolds you control get +2/+2. Whenever you cast a kobold spell, you may pay 2. If you do, create a 4/4 red dragon. Whenever you cast a dragon spell, you create a 0/1 red kobold to care keep. I love it. I don't think I'm gonna build the deck, but I would love to see people build the Rogod deck. Speaking of Rogod, we go immediately into Rosnocht, heir of Rogod. I don't know why Rogrock isn't the heir, even though he's his son. Is there some familial issues? That's gonna be the next episode of like Commander Conspiracy Theory. Is why is Rosnocht the heir to the throne and not Rogrock? Like, was there some family fallout? Is Rogrock like not strong enough? They're both. This guy's better. I mean, he's a 0 mana 0/1 instead of a 1 mana 0/1. I'm feeling bad for my boy Rogrock, probably younger. I mean, the implication when it says heir of Rogod though is that this might not even be a son. This might be there's a chance that this is just some other thing that just said, you know what, I'm gonna be the heir, and you're gonna go kick dust, Rogrock. You're gonna go kick rocks. Maybe I'm overthinking it, but I love my boy Roger too much. But so I hope he gets his revenge. Rosnocht, heir of Roga, 1 red for 0/1 battle cry. Again, tell me the last time you saw a battle cry. Whenever you cast a spell that targets Rosnocht, create a 0/1 red kobold creature token. This is awesome. Really, really sweet effect. It goes straight into the Roga deck. I love it. I'm so in love with this new deck. Stang, Echo Warrior for red green 2. Whenever Stang attacks, create Stang Twin, a legendary 3/4 red and green human warrior creature token. It enters the battlefield tapped and attacking. For each aura and equipment attached to Stang, create a token that's a copy of it attached to Stang Twin. Sacrifice all tokens created this way at the beginning of the next end step. And again, it falls into the same trap as like, why are you playing Voltron in red green when you could play Voltron in better color combinations? It was Stang playing. I don't even think that would change the card. The fact that this card is just bad, unfortunately, because that's a much funnier and much better name. I'm gonna move on to the ever-changing Dane. 3 mana 3/3 shapeshifter. Pay 1, sacrifice another creature. The ever-changing Dane becomes a copy of the sacrificed creature, except it has this ability. I don't get it. The Mimoplasm exists already. Like, there's I don't get it, man. I think this card's just not incredible. The Peregrine Dynamo. 3 mana, 1/5 legendary artifact creature construct with haste. Pay 1, tap, copy target activated or triggered ability you control from another legendary source that's not a commander. You may choose new targets for the copy. Is this good enough to be the next colorless commander? I don't know what legendary colorless sources there are out there. I feel like someone a lot smarter than me can find something to do with this. But overall, I'm saying there could be a lot of potential here, but it's not going to be me who figures that potential out. I'm going to move on to the Rift Cleaver. The Reaver Cleaver, excuse me. The Eldrazi. It does copy the Eldrazi. Very cool. 3 mana, legendary artifact equipment. Equipped creature gets +1/+1 and trample, and you're on Scryfall, you can look that up. You know what? ID is colorless, type is legendary. Has like, I need to look up if it has an activated ability. I mean, let's just quickly look through these. You get double Aetherworks Marvel. Oh, we don't want lands. Double Aetherworks Marvel. Double Eldrazi's. Like, I would have to. I mean, I don't want to look through all of these right now. Maybe order by rarity. Yeah, you have like double Aetherworks Marvel. You have double Emrakul. You have double extra turn with Gonti's Aetherheart. Like, you can get double Karn abilities. Like, you can double up on any of the Karn abilities, which is worth noting. Yeah, more double Eldrazi. Wait, you can double Mindslaver someone. Yeah, double Lithoform engine. Pog. But it also just this is bad. Moment of silence for my boy Paradox Engine. Imagine. Oh, wait, goat. Imagine if Paradox Engine were still legal. We would actually have a really good colorless deck now. Because if you copy the Paradox Engine trigger, then it untaps itself. And if you have enough mana, you can just go infinite. Wait, this would have been so cool. Why? Oh, well, God. Wait, this would have been so cool. Like, oh, come on, man. Why do they ruin fun things? That would have been so cool. Anyway, I'm going to stop complaining about how they banned Paradox Engine. Historic can play it. Can Historic play Peregrine Dynamo, though? You need some format where you can both play. I mean, technically, Legacy can play Paradox Engine and the Peregrine Dynamo. But like, yeah, you have double Planeswalkers, you have double Eldrazi. But like, the best thing that you would be able to do with this card is exactly Paradox Engine. And that would make this card really strong. Double Nexus. Like, yeah, you get 2 extra turns. It's similar to just double Gonti's Aetherheart, wherever that one was. Gonti's Aetherheart. Wait. My moderator has said wait in the chat. What if I don't want to wait for my moderator? What if I choose to continue on with this broadcast in complete ignorance and ignorance of my moderator? That wouldn't be very nice, though, would it? So I'll wait. We will pause the stream solely because that one individual can type their opinion. What is the Boros commander? Osgir? Yeah, probably. I would check the Boros server right now to see if Osgir is working on anything with this Peregrine Dynamo, because I could see them finding a way to abuse the shit out of this. Anyway, I'm gonna move on to finish up reading the Reaver Cleaver. This is great in Prosper. I absolutely want to add this into Prosper. I love this card there. Tiller Engine. 2 mana, 1/3. Whenever a land enters battlefield, tapped and under you control, choose one. Untap that land, tap target non-land permanent opponent controls. Holy, this makes the Gates deck a lot better. This at worst is just another copy of Amulet of Vigor. Yeah, I mean, it's good in the Archipelagos deck. It's good in the 5-color Gates deck. It's good in the 3-color Gates deck. This is awesome. I love it. It's niche, but it does its job. 2-headed Hellkite. Wooburg 1 for a Flying Menace haste. 5/5. Whenever it attacks, draw 2 cards. thumbs up. It's a magic card. It's not very bad. Like it's a 6 mana 5. It has decent stats, decent abilities. It's card advantage. There are better 5-color cards you can play, but if you're in the 5-color deck, this card it's a thumbs up. It's a magic card. I'm gonna move on to Unite the Coalition. Wooburg 2. Instant. Choose 5. You may choose the same mode more than once. Target permanent phases out. Target player draws a card. Exile target player's graveyard. Deal 2 damage to any target. Destroy target artifact or enchantment. This card I actually very much don't like. It's like, yeah, you gotta do 5 things. It's like a confluence, but it's like you can like you're basically gonna use this to a lot of times it's gonna be like blow something up and or draw some cards and then exile some graveyards. Like it's useful. But for 7 mana, you can just play Casualties of War. You can play Cyclonic Rift. There's a lot just better stuff you can do for 7 mana that avoids the bad versatility of this. It could be good. I don't think it's going to be. Zerium, we'll get there. The Verak, Warped Singer. I saw this card ahead of time. Sorry, chat. Whenever you activate an ability that isn't a mana ability, if you pay life, you can pay life again and copy it. I love this. I think this is super, super, super cool. Goes in the 99 of a lot of life pay decks. Sweet ability. It's cool. Double fetch. Yes. You can double fetch. Yeah, this card seems good in Casual Commander for sure. Thumbs up, good card. I'm going to hop on over to Zira, the Golden Sting. 4 mana, 3/3 flying haste. 2 life, fetch 2 land seems hot. That is very hot. Unironically, a very, very cool effect. Zira, 4 mana, 3/3 haste, flying haste. Whenever Zira attacks, put an egg counter on another target creature without an egg counter on it. Whenever that creature dies, if it had an egg counter on it, draw a card and create a 1/1 black insect creature token with flying. First of all, for any of those who like saying the word egg like a Canadian, and you say it like egg, then you can please leave my chat room in for a very fast manner. All right, so now that the heathens are gone, egg. Exactly, egg. I'm not very impressed by this. Sorry. Blah blah blah. Whatever. It's a bad Jund commander. The problem with printing Jund commanders in this set is that we just got the new Windgrace. We just got Soul of Windgrace, and this is by far the best Jund commander I've seen in a long time. So, like, any kind of other effect that is in the Jund colors here is just going to be outshadowed by the existence of Soul of Windgrace. Zerium. 4 mana, 3/4 flyer. Whenever a griffin you control deals combat damage, player create a 2/2 white griffin creature token with a fly. You would build CDH Zerium win-conless stacks. The question is, I mean, it finally gives the, unironically, it gives Griffin Tribal some legs to stand on here. There's a few good Griffins, blah, blah, blah. There have been a niche few other Griffin Tribal cards. Specifically, that's exactly Griffin Canyon. Quickly scrolling here, though, that's literally it. But it gives Griffin Canyon a home finally. So, you know what? It's cool. If you love it, you love it. Most Griffins are overpriced mana-wise, but it makes a good deck that can get out of hand. I mean, yeah, while most Griffins are overpriced mana-wise, Griffin Airy, exactly. The fact that this just, I don't know, it's not good, but if you want to make it, I'm not gonna say you shouldn't. How about that? General Marholt, El's Dragon. Red, green, 2. Whenever a creature you control becomes blocked, it gets +3/+3 until end of turn for each creature blocking it. Cool. Thumbs up. This card right here, guys, that's a Magic card. Jasmine Boreal of the 7. Green, white, 1. Tap, add 2 mana. Spend this to only cast creature spells with no abilities. Creatures you control with no abilities can't be blocked by creatures with abilities. It's a different version of Ruxa. If you're a normie, you're going to play this and play the white-green tokens deck. No, the white-green creatures with no abilities deck. If you're based and not cringe like myself, you're going to play this deck that I'm going to post a link to in chat right now. You're going to play this deck instead and be just incredibly based. That's my interpretation of the vanilla creatures deck. Have fun with that one. I will not ever switch off of Ruxa. Ramirez de Pietro. Whenever it enters the battlefield, you lose 2 life and create 2 treasure tokens. Solid start. Not as good as Bear Mommy, exactly. Whenever one or more pirates you control deal combat damage to a player, exile the top card of that player's library, you may cast that card for as long as it remains exiled. Wow, this is a really sweet pirate tribal card. Like, this is awesome. This is really, really, really awesome. Ramirez already has an infinite. I can imagine it's something to do with it entering the battlefield. Yeah, I expect there's already some dumb infinite out there that uses Ramirez. Like, it seems like it's the kind of card that could allow you to do that. And it doesn't surprise me, let's just say that. Anyway, Tobias, Doomed Conqueror. White, blue, 2 for a 3/2 with flash. Whenever Tobias, Doomed Conqueror dies, for each non-token creature you controlled that died this turn, create a 2/2 black zombie creature token. So you flash this in right as they cast a sweeper. You get a whole board, and then you crack your Gerard's Hourglass Pendant and return everything to play. Is this a good deck? No. Is this a meme deck? Yes. If this is cringe, you're getting banned. Oh, this is the combo.
Commander combo with Ramirez de Pietro from Dominaria United. To get this one started, we need Ramirez, Deadeye Navigator, and Nadier's Nightblade all on the battlefield. We need
Okay, got it. So you need for this combo, you need you need Ramirez, you need a 6 mana card that is notorious for being an infinite combo enabler. And you need it's a 3-card combo, both of which are incredibly difficult to find in black blue because you don't have creature tutors. You're gonna have to use generic tutoring to find it. It's from default. It's 13. It's 13 mana to get the combo off the ground, and you have to have all pieces available to you. Like, I don't know. I'm not a big fan of it. Like, it works. It works in a casual setting. Don't you capital D : me. Like, it seems very unoptimized. Like, yeah, cool. It's an infinite combo. Great. I would rather just play this in like a value-based pirate tribal deck. And then one of my favorite spoilers that's come out is Torwalki the Younger. 5 mana 3/3 reach lifelink. If another source you control would deal non-combat damage to a permanent or player, it deals that much damage +1 to a permanent or player instead. Whenever you cast an instant or sorcery spell, Torwalki deals 2 damage to any target. This is the perfect commander for the Rakdos Obosh the Prey Piercer deck. And I love it. All of your spells gain you some life. It's a burn deck with Blackout. Goatlord, you remember the companions, right? If you remember the companions, you'll remember the red-black companion. And then you'll start to see the dumb things that you can do with this deck. I'm excited. I want to build this at some point. Not off the top of your head. Well, let me show you then. Obosh, the Prey Piercer. This is Obosh, the Prey Piercer. It has the same commander, the companion mechanic, but you have to have a deck full of odd cost cards. If a source you control with an odd mana value would deal damage to a permanent or player, it deals double that damage instead. So now you're doing +1 damage and double damage, and all of your instant or sorceries gain you 2 life because of the 2 damage from Wauki. And Wauki's damage isn't 2 anymore, but it's 4 damage because it's doubled. It seems good. You're right, it does seem good. This card, I'm really excited to build Torwalki plus Obosh the Prey Piercer. Now that's it. That looks like the rest of it here. So I'm gonna go back through. You can't play Torbrand. You can't do Torbrand in this deck, unfortunately, Goatlord. As much as I would love to play Torbrand in this deck, you legally cannot. Because this is the odd cost companion. I mean, yeah, you could put Obosh as the commander, but the benefit is that you have Obosh available. Obosh acts as a second commander. Like, and first of all, the odd deck is a meme, so it's better already because it's a meme. And second of all, you're still having a really strong deck without. I mean, you already have access to like Jeska, you have access to Vile Smasher, you have access to Kervek the Merciless. A lot of really powerful red black commanders are very synergistic with this odd damage archetype. Let's just go through here. You have access to obviously Obosh, but you have access to even something like Raphael to get the devil token every turn. You have access to Judith to ping, you have access to Kervek, you have access to Mahadi. Mahadi seems really good in that deck. You get access to Lizolda if you want a sack outlet for those devil tokens you're making. You have access to Jeska, Torwalki as your commander. You get like Kasarov Sengir. You get some you get some pretty cool stuff. Where's the combo I'm looking for? I'm looking for. Oh, that wouldn't be a Rakdos combo. But you have Jeska, you have Vile Smasher. Where's like a Vile Smasher pairing? Yeah, you have like Vile Smasher plus something else. You could do like Vile Smasher Jeska is a pretty cool combo for that. But yeah, it's a sweet deck. I really like it. But yeah, I'm going to go back through, give my quick little rundown opinions on everything that I talked about today. And then I have one commander deck I have to edit now, and we'll edit this together. And then I'm going to hop off because I'm getting a little sore, I'm getting a little tired. But I will be the 50-50 chance I'll be streaming tomorrow. We'll see though. And then we will get back into playing some more Magic Arena. I'll give some updates about the 1 D&D content next week. So, review here. Jared Carthalion is great. You're going to build 5-color planeswalkers around that. Shanid is awesome in the legendary deck, same with Jedit. This card is extremely bad. All the rest of these just seem really underwhelming. Blade Wing is a sweet Rakdos card just to gain a lot of value out of. There's not enough good deserts to make this work. Ramses is a fun card that makes me want to hurt myself a little bit because of what I have to change later. Roga is great card, thumbs up, good magic card. I'm a fan. Paragon Dynamo makes me wish that Paradox Engine was still alive. Tiller Engine is a cool piece for the gate decks or the tap decks. Varak is really sexy with fetch lands. Zerium is Goatlord's favorite card now. And Torwalki is a fun card. Does that kind of sum up what I've been talking about all day? Because I think it does. So here's what we're going to do. You never said that? I think you did. I'm going to gaslight you into making you think you said that, and then we're going to make you believe that for the rest of your life now. So, this is on you for being a weeb. That, I'm not going to say that last part because that would tarnish your name a little bit too much. Alrighty. The last thing I want to do on stream today is I have one magic deck that I need to update. Here's a list of my casual decks. And you have this one deck here called The Game. This deck, the point of this deck, is that this deck can win the game. Guess what? I love hentai and I'm not afraid to say it. You probably are also a furry, if I had to guess. Or you have furry leaning tendencies. This deck, you're not actually. I mean, let's be real here, and you can comment on this or not. If you watched Zootopia and did not walk out of that movie being slightly more furry inclined, then you're not human. Like that's my stance here. That movie is cringe. Yes, I mean, while the movie is kind of cringe, my statement still stands true. And if you didn't walk out of that movie that way, go watch Space Jam again and then come back and talk to me. Anyway, the point of this deck that I have here in front of you is that it can win the game with every single card that says you win the game. So every card that has the words you win the game is in this deck and is a viable win condition. There is a way for each and every single one of them to win the game in this deck. This has taken me years to develop and perfect and master, and the deck is a garbage fire pile of shit. But a few things here. First, we need more gates, so I believe there's a few more gates that have been added to the game that are not in this deck right now. As in, the bad Thran portal gets added to the deck, baby, because it's a gate. And we'll cut, what do I cut? I need to find a land to cut. The bad man of, yes, but it's a gate, so I have to play it. We will cut. What's the lowest color? We don't have black and red. So that would be Badlands. We already cut Badlands. Red and blue. Volcanic Island. We already cut Volcanic Island. Just cut Mana Confluence. Fine, I'll cut Mana Confluence. But the other thing you noted is if you were paying attention, chat, there was a card that had the words win the game on it. You win the game. That came out in the new Commander set. As you can see, did they unban Coalition Victory? No way. No way did they unban Coalition Victory. Yeah, they did not unban Coalition Victory. I have to add the Assassin. Exactly. I have to add the Assassin. The only you win the game cards that are not in this deck, by the way, are the ones that are literally impossible to pull off in Commander. That being Hedron Alignment. It should be unbanned. I completely agree. The card is not unfair at all. It's Hedron Alignment because it's impossible to pull this off in Commander, and Battle of Wits because it's also impossible to pull this off. Now, Ramses comes in. This card requires two things. It requires an assassin to deal combat damage to a player, and a player to lose the game. So what I'm thinking is I'm just going to put in the Etrata package into this deck. Etrata or hit. Or hit. Hit counter. Yeah, we're just going to put in the Etrata hit counter package. That we have a consistent way to make players lose the game with Ravenloft Adventurer, Mary, and Etrata. And all of these are assassins, which means that, especially this one, is unblockable. And once we make somebody lose the game with Ramses in play, we now have one legitimate line that allows this to win the game. Now, the problem is I need to cut 4 cards from the deck. So let's do it. Let's start with cards that I cannot cut. I cannot cut Jace because it's a you win the game card. I can cut some of these Mana Dorks, in theory. I cannot cut Thassa's Oracle. I can't cut Triskaidekaphile. We can't cut Biovisionary. We cannot cut Frenetic Freak because it's the easiest way to turn on Chance Encounter. Because of Frenetic Freak, we don't need Usury. We're going to cut Usury. We can't cut Laboratory Maniac. We cannot cut Atraxa because Atraxa helps with all of the win the game cards that require counters. What Atraxa's here for. Like Azor's Elecurus. We can't cut Feldar Sovereign. We can't cut Hellkite Tyrant. We can't cut Mossbridge Troll because Mossbridge Troll is by far the easiest way to enable Mael's Aria. Just to immediately get a 20 power creature and then win the game. We're not going to cut Rite of Replication because that's a way that you can win with Biovisionary immediately. We can't cut Approach to the Second Sun. We can't cut Reshape the Earth because that gets 10 gates immediately. Like, you can get 9 gates plus Maze's End immediately, and thus have your Maze's End victory in 1 card. We cannot cut Worldfire. For those who might be wondering, why is Worldfire in this garbage deck? Well, let me explain. Worldfire is here to enable both Barren Glory and near-death experience win conditions. How this works is you say you want to win with near-death experience. You play near-death experience. You cast Oblivion Ring on your own near-death experience, and then you cast Worldfire. All the permanents are exiled. All the cards from hands and graveyards are exiled. Each player's life total becomes 1. Because Oblivion Ring leaves the battlefield, you are left on the battlefield at 1 life with near-death experience in play. And therefore, no one can stop you unless they have exactly a land that enters the battlefield and does 1 damage. That single desert is the only card that can stop you from winning now. The same theory works with Barren Glory, because Barren Glory would be the only card in play on your side of the battlefield. So yeah, that's why we have to keep Worldfire in the deck. Sunscorched Desert is the only card that punishes this line of play. Demonic Consultation and Tainted Pact are ways to mill my entire deck. Is a very fast way to get that done. so those can't really get cut. Eldomer's Call is a nice way to search for something. My dad plays Shakadama. Shakadama. Am I missing something here? I don't recognize that off the top of my head. Shakadama. Anyway, Beak of Immortality, doubling your life total enables things like Felidar Sovereign and Test of Endurance. If you needing to have a high life total, you win the game. Altar of Dimension can be used to sack any number of my tokens to fill my graveyard. It's an enabler for the Mortal Kombat. Kodama and Sakashima. Got it. Mortal Kombat, it's a Mortal Kombat enabler. We have the new Halo Fountain, which is an enabler of itself. We don't necessarily need Krark's Thumb now that we cut Usuri, so we're going to cut Krark's Thumb. Maskwood Nexus is a way that Liliana's Contract gets enabled. You just make all of my creatures demons, and then you win because you have demons, 4 demons with different names. Why am I playing Detention Sphere? Exile target non-land permanent, all the permanents with the same name as that permanent. Why am I playing Detention Sphere? Oh, because it's another copy of Oblivion Ring. That's why. It's another copy of Oblivion Ring for the Baron Glory Near Death Experience play. That's why you're playing Detention Sphere. Yeah, it enables my Worldfire win. Happily Ever After just exists on its own, more or less. Chance Encounter is good with the Djinn. Mechanized Production synergizes with Hellkite Tyrant itself and with Revel in Riches. So all 3 artifact win conditions benefit from this card. And that's it. So I need to cut 2 more cards. I'm thinking those are just going to be 2 mana dorks here. So we're going to cut the bad mana dorks, work from the top down. So we will cut lands. No, the problem is that this deck is so mana hungry. And the lands that I would be cutting are duels because I'm not going to cut any gates. And I can't play any mana rocks because all the spell slots in this deck are so tight. Although I'm counteracting myself by doing this because we have so many dorks, I can cut some lands. You're right, I can cut some lands. Let's cut Underground Sea. Then what's next to cut? We've done all of these 3. It looks like it's Plateau. Let's cut next. And Taiga. You can be big brain. I know you can be big brain some of the time there, Goat Lord. I say some of the time liberally, by the way. But that's it. There's the new Ramses in this deck. I hate that I have to edit this deck, but I do. The last thing I have to check is actually the Ruxa deck. So if you looked at the link that I put in chat a little while back, that is my Ruxa tokens deck. The premise of this deck is that Ruxa says that all creatures without abilities get +1/+1 and can assign their damage as though they weren't blocked. Well, do you know what creatures are creatures without abilities? That's right, vanilla tokens. This deck can create every single token that is possible to be created in mono green and colorless. That is a vanilla token. There's roughly 80 unique tokens that this deck can make. But that means whenever a new set comes out, I have to search through Scryfall to see if any new cards were added. So set is DMC, or set is DMU, ID is green, and it has the word create in it. No, I'm so wait. No, there's 2. There's Baru and Greensleeves. Oh, I hate this. Wait, I hate this so much. Oh, I have to find 2 cards to cut. Wait, we can make an argument here. You can make an argument that because Baru gives the worm tokens trample, because Baru gives the worm tokens trample, they no longer have. What do you mean 3/3 green beast creature token? Buddy, we already make 3/3 green beast creature tokens with Garrick. We don't need to make 3/3 green beast creature tokens twice. I'm looking. Sorry, I should have specified. I'm looking for green tokens that are not found in any other card. You can make the argument that the 4/4 green worm creature token gains trample and thus has an ability. But then you can make the argument of just kill Baru and then the worm doesn't have the ability anymore. I'm gonna do it to myself. We have to add Baru and green sleeves into this deck. So, where are cards in this deck that what are cards that I can cut? Unfortunately, what you have to realize is that literally every spell in this deck creates a unique token. And when I say literally, I mean literally. You can go check the deck list for yourself. I'm not going to walk through every card in this deck list. But literally every card in this deck somehow creates a new unique token. And thus we have to cut lands. We have to cut lands now because there's no other way to do this. Cut Rise of the Ants. I can't cut Rise of the Ants because that creates the 3/3 green insect creature token. And that's the only card in the game that creates the 3/3 green insect creature token. You don't understand, good lord. We have to have all of them. We can't just have some of the tokens. This deck has to have the ability to create every single printed token from mono green and colorless. Every single one. So we're cutting lands. We'll cut 2 basics. We'll cut a snow-covered forest, and we will cut a regular forest. And we need to add in Baru Wormspeaker. Baru Wormspeaker. And we need to add in green sleeves. Maru Sorcerer. That increases our token count to about 87 unique tokens. I don't think there's anything else we need. Mana Ring doesn't count because they're not creature tokens. Creating a Sapperling token doesn't do anything because we already have ways to create Sapperling tokens. Karn Living Legacy does not make a creature token, it makes a Power Stone. You might be wondering, what about the 1/1 White Warrior creature token with Vigilance? I'm almost certain we already can make the 1/1 White Warrior creature token with Vigilance. If not, is there any card in mono green that can make the 1/1 white green, the 1/1 White Warrior? Oh wait, it has Vigilance. Never mind. I don't care because it has an ability. So I believe that's all the editing I have to do to this deck. Fortunately, it wasn't that many changes here. Other than that, I don't think there's anything else I have to edit. I believe I am all set on the casual decks I'm looking to update right now. Eventually, I am going to update Prosper. I play Prosper in a casual setting to include some of the new cards from this expansion. But yeah, there it is. That is my overall impression on Dominaria United Commander and the cards that came out in it. So it has been about 2 hours streamed today. I know it's a little short still, but starting about next week, we're gonna get into a little more gameplay, a little more long-term streams. So I'm going to go ahead and run the stream ending right now. If you enjoyed, I know there's only one person here. If you enjoyed, hit the follow button. If you aren't in Discord, join Discord. Otherwise, thank you for being here, and I will see you next time. Bye now.